Yeah, I've noticed a lot that some people say that universal basic income is absolutely inevitable, and other people say that universal basic income is absolutely unrealistic. And I've tried to think, what is it? What's going on here? And I think it's this. I also think it's absolutely inevitable. I often have the techie line that oh, the jobs are going to go, the middle class is going to be wiped out, then careers are gone. We can see this with GT and all this stuff. We can see that artificial general intelligence, where AI is more intelligent, or at least as intelligent as people, and can do all the physical tasks better than people as well. All that's going to make UBI inevitable. You're hearing this from Robert F. Kennedy and in America, and starting to anyway. And obviously Andrew Yang started on as well. And we've heard that from Ray Kurzweil and Elon Musk and founder of Twitter, forgot his name, founder of Facebook as well. And they're sort of like are the ones who Zuckerberg, Facebook. They're the ones who say that it's inevitable, and a lot of the general public then hear this and think it's inevitable. But then you get those who think it's totally unrealistic, and their mindset isn't thinking of AI when they say this at all. It's thinking about, well, this is just silly. I mean, how unaffordable people. You might have some winners, but most people will be paying for it. Of course. It's both sides are correct because it depends. It depends on, well, you know what I mean. Both sides thinking makes sense in a way, but the side that is correct is dependent on the technology thing. If the AI is like the techies say, and it's going to be artificial general intelligence, meaning above human intelligence, and also can do the physical tasks better than humans as well, then the middle class will be, the middle class professions will be gone. So it would be more correct to refer to the former middle class, because they'll now be thinking like the working class, on in the sense that they'll be unemployed, they'll have these financial difficulties paying the bills. This will be beyond just insecurity. This will be needing something like UBI. Well, needing UBI, yeah, and you can't put everyone on unemployment benefit. It'd have to be thought of as a new citizen's income. It would neither be thought of as like private wage, nor would it be thought of as welfare. Just be like citizen's income, and that's if the techies are right. Now, if the techies are quite a way off the mark, and this beyond human intelligence, artificial general intelligence, is not true, just simply not true, then it's unrealistic. And it's unrealistic because if it's inevitable, it's because we can't afford not to have it, is what people say. But if the techies are wrong, then the people who say we can't afford to have it will be correct. It's always that. It's always about power in the end. All the other stuff, the arguments to make for it, it's just waffle. It's just waffle because, well, people will make that argument if they're in the camp I've just said there, or the camp I've just said there. So they're just plucking these arguments from a tree and like applying them as if everyone thinks this when they don't. It depends on your status, on your power. So going on about UBI and like, whether we should give this out to people is one thing, but it doesn't make any difference to the eventual decision of whether we do or not, because it's all about whether the economy is shambolic or whether it's okay. It's not going to happen just because of what you want as an individual. It depends. Very much depends on charging my computer, my laptop. Very much depends on that technological thing. I mean, the reason why UBI is now a thing, the reason why it gets trials and all this is precisely because of AI. So it's like, although the techies can still be wrong, they're not completely 100% wrong. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be getting this sort of consideration in Japan, in Canada, and in trials around the world. It wouldn't have had Andrew Yang. It wouldn't be on the agendas of many political parties around the world, etc., etc., etc. It would be fringe. It used to be fringe. So when I say if the techies are wrong, I don't mean if they're absolutely wrong. I mean if they're relatively wrong. Just like if they're relatively right, UBI will have to come in. If they're relatively wrong, it's no chance. Now, I think that eventually artificial general intelligence will come in personally, and it's just a matter of are the techies a bit out on their years, how many years they think. And I don't mean are they 50 years out, I mean are they like 10 years out, something like that. So I think techies might be correct that they know their field, and if we didn't know our field, we wouldn't be saying this. We wouldn't be had success up to now. It's going all the way we think everything was going to go. Read Kurzweil's book at the start of this century, and he talked about virtual reality, and he talked about artificial intelligence, and it's gone about approximately the pace he expected. So it's on track there, I would think. But they can still be out. They can still be out by a few years here or there, I think. So they could still be over optimistic, but I'd be surprised if if artificial general intelligence didn't come out, didn't get there. It seems to be going that way with what I see. I remember chatbots online. Now they basically sound like they know everything beyond human intelligence. Anyway, we'll see. And on another issue with UBI, the inflation thing. Well, of course, if money leaves the economy because because people aren't working, then it'll just be a replacement sort of thing, rather like furlough. Of course, you should do a redistribution aspect with it, though. You could use that as a chance to do that, because my view is that like within the propaganda matrix, etc., and the inequality provides a lot of power tripping, a lot of gaslighting, a lot of manipulation in order to preserve the existing gross power inequality. So I think if there's ever an opportunity to reduce that inequality, to have more equality, then that should be grasped. Grasp it straight away. Obviously, I'm going to think that. I mean, to continue with the vile system we had is just no chance. Well, if UBI gives if the technological revolution gives us the chance to sort this out, then do it. Now, inflation should be considered, of course. But I mean, like for example, like I just said, if money's leaving the economy, then it's not as big a problem as you think. If you when there was a lockdown because of COVID and money was being pumped in the economy, that was just to stop the opposite of inflation, to stop deflation, just to keep the economy ticking over. I mean, there was the online world, but that wasn't enough to make up for all the outside world market being shut down. Naturally enough, luckily we have the online world during then, otherwise I'm not sure I would have coped. And of course, so I don't think the economy would be booming very much. We don't have much booming economy anymore, do we? But obviously, when the booming economy, you don't just pump money into there. And obviously, if you put in money in the economy, you take it out through tax. So again, you're taking money out, putting money in, taking money out, so you keep it on an even keel. It doesn't have to be to the penny or the pound. Obviously, we're not on this grand scale of billions and billions and billions. That's the general rule that you have to follow. And you can also do it over time as well. Another way of curbing inflation. So it's always ways of bringing in big projects without just going crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, so I admit that if you bring UBI in and your benefit's going to be towards many of the people at the bottom, you can't just take tax out from those at the top. As much as we want to do that, as much as we should do that, as much as that will help to some extent as well anyway with the inflation, and it's obviously we want to tax billionaires to redistribute for other reasons other than inflation. But we'd have to remember to take money. You couldn't just suddenly benefit everyone with UBI. So for example, the lower middle class might have to miss out, might have it all taxed away. Whether we maybe obviously eventually though, if middle class, like I was saying before, are getting destroyed, then there's more money coming out than you would than some people believe will happen. But if that does happen, then we can get money in the middle class, but it would be the former middle class. It would be a totally restructuring the economy. So really, the details would have to be really thought through by people who are more detailed minded than I am. But the general gist of this is quite clear, as I explained at the start from most of the video, about whether UBI is realistic or whether it's inevitable or unrealistic. It's inevitable if the middle class are destroyed, or have come close to being destroyed, and it's unrealistic if the middle class are under no serious threat of being anywhere near destroyed. So that's the so it's like saying it's this if and only if, and it's this if and only if. And I think that's the fair way of looking at it. A lot of the other stuff is biased power ways of looking at it. Just their ideologies being imposed and then given justifications for their argument. Just if you go around saying, "Oh, we can't do this," who will do the menial jobs? I mean, that's part of that's missing out the fact that we say, well, if the techies are right, the menial jobs will be done by robots. You know what I mean? Or we can't do this because we can't afford it. That's missing out the fact that we can't afford not to do it if the middle class are destroyed. They can't live on nothing, just like the working class would be able to live on nothing, obviously. So that would be the two big main blocks of society: the working class and the middle class, just being starved. So again, that argument is about, oh, we can't afford to do it, is like ridiculous if the techies are right. What else is there? Oh, we can't do this. Money must be linked to wages. Well, they often aren't. You know what I mean? There's loads of welfare already that universal basic income would replace, and also if money has to be linked to wages and the AI destroys all the paid work, well, then there is no more, or not much left of their paid wages. So something new has to come in to replace that. So again, all these biased arguments ignore the gist of the fundamental argument about universal basic income. That it's like going to come in, or if and only if these techies are correct and are right. If not, then you don't need to make them arguments because nothing's changed really. It would be unrealistic. I mean, I'm principled in wanting a redistribution of income and wealth, etc. But I understand also problems of defeating state superstructure and the propaganda matrix. For instance, like you might think I'm being reasonable on UBI, and you might say, "Oh, Paul, why aren't you reasonable? You come across as so argumentative about the propaganda matrix and the state superstructure." But I would say back to that I don't just say, "Oh, well, we can just defeat the propaganda matrix and state superstructure by X, Y, Z." I don't just say that, do I? So I'm just being the same here. I don't say, "Oh, we can just bring in universal basic income." That's it. You know what I mean? So on the propaganda matrix and state superstructure, I actually do look for as kind of a calamity for them, a kind of like the party politics going bust by the right splitting themselves and defeating themselves, and us on the left defeating the so-called left. The system left is really right wing anyway. So we deal with I don't know, like Labour and Tories deal with the Tories, and that gets smashed down, and also it's just the tip of the iceberg. But then if there's an AI calamity, and if the economy crashes, you see what I mean? There's a lot that has to happen. I don't want to say, oh, we just come in and bring this thing down. I mean, there's a lot that has to work for us to get what we want and need. I mean, something like I don't like the terms right and left because they're part of the propaganda matrix. We need to take the left, or as we know it, the system left. We need to take the Greens. We need to take the left of the Labour Party. We need to take the left of the Lib Dems, and we need to take Tories who see through the state superstructure and realise that they've been brainwashed. I mean, don't get me wrong, not just people within the blue Tories, it's people within Labour who have been too Tory-like in their unconsciously supporting a state superstructure of vast inequality from top to bottom, and also vast news media empires. It's just really not really being bothered about it really. So like there's all of, in my view, it's all right wing that we're taking to us almost. Some of that, obviously with us practically. They're just I don't know, squatting in the Labour Party or just stuff like that. Why you're there? Might as well be in Sunak's party. Might as well. No different. So yeah, it's not just a case of I'm not being unrealistic. I'm being realistic and saying if this happens, UBI comes in. If this happens, the propaganda matrix crashes. I mean, really, the two UBI and the propaganda matrix unite around the AI thing, really, because if AI does to the middle class what the techies say it's going to do, then it's game on. We're in the game. We're on the pitch. We've got a chance. We've got a fighting chance. We'll probably be favourites. And we would be favourites. So there's a lot riding on this claim that artificial intelligence is going to become so intelligent that it replaces humans. And it's a massive claim by the techies that's made. And like I say, if it's true, it's game on, especially if politicians have failed to prepare in terms of the income side of it for the people, because that would make them look really bad. If they just like hadn't brought in anything like UBI and it just hit and boom, game on. So we need to take advantage of that if and when it happens, that crisis. We need to be in there. We need to expose the state. We need to bring them down. End the video.